Hi, I'm Sai. I'm the founder, co-owner and one of the surf guides at Renegade Surf Travel. We run world-class surf coaching trips in some of the most progression-friendly waves on Earth. In this video, I'm going to be answering one of our most common questions ahead of a trip, and that is, what boards should I bring with me? Alright, so first, let's start with a little bit of context. I'm 5'7", around 70 kilos, and I would describe my surf ability as lower level 4. With that being said, the picks I've made are mostly applicable to upper level 3 and level 4 surfers who are going to be joining our level 3 to 4 coaching trips, but I'm also going to give some advice for those level 2 and lower level 3 surfers who are going to join our level 2 to 3 surf coaching trips. Alright, so for a level 3 to 4 surf coaching trip, I recommend a 3-board quiver. 2 boards is doable and 4's a luxury, but for me 3 is the sweet spot where you can cover all the ground you need to cover without lugging around too many surfboards. We're going to break the boards down into 3 categories: the daily driver, the easy surfer, and we've got the step up. So let's have a look at the boards and why I've chosen them. Okay, so the first one is going to be this little beauty. This is my trusty Sharp Eye Inferno 72. This particular one is a 5'9" by 19.25" by 2.5", and it's got 28 litres of volume. I've tried a lot of these daily driver type boards, and this is by far the best one that I've used. Just seems to go in more or less everything, and this is the board that I surf 80% of the time. It's fast, it's responsive, it is quite bladey. It's definitely not an intermediate friendly board. It's got thin rails, a thin nose, a thin tail, but if you're at that upper level 3 and above level, it's an absolutely epic board. And this is the first board I've ever ordered where if I was to break this one, I would just order exactly the same again. If you wanted something a little bit more user-friendly, you could look at boards like the Firewire Dominator 2 or the Pizel Phantom, something along those lines. They would fit the same board category, but they're not quite so high performance. If you're only going to bring 2 boards, then I would recommend bringing the daily driver, and I'm going to call this one my easy surfer. The reason I'm not calling this one a groveler is because you don't typically need a groveler in the tropics and in the Maldives. Plus, I'll also surf this board when the waves are good. It doesn't need to be small for me to pull this one out. It's more if I want to get a slightly different feeling, and mostly just if I want to go for a surf that feels low stress. You know, on the Sharp Eye, I'm looking at the waves and I'm thinking, the waves look rippable and I want to go out there and do the best surfing that I possibly can. But sometimes you might be tired, you've already surfed 4 hours that day, you just want to go out for an easy surf, and this is the board I would pull out. So this is my trusty twin fin. This is made by a shaper called Killerfish in Portugal. It's a pretty typical traditional fish outline, but it's got the performance Almeric twin fins in there instead of a keel fin. And this particular one is 5'5" by 20.25" by 2 7/16" at 32 litres. So this is 4 litres more than my Sharp Eye Inferno 72. Your easy surfer board doesn't need to be a twin fin fish. It can be whatever you would want to pull out to feel inspired on those days where maybe you don't have as much energy, or you just want to have a different feeling on the wave. This thing, I can pretty much stand on it, go fast. It feels like I'm cheating. So if you are a level 2 or lower level 3 surfer, I would say that a 2-board quiver is actually enough. You could go for something like a daily driver, and then as your easy surfer, we highly recommend a mid-length of sorts, whether that's a performance mid-length twin fin. Between those 2 boards on a level 2 to 3 trip, you're going to cover all the ground you need to cover, you're going to catch heaps of waves, and you're going to have maximum fun. If you're joining a level 3 to 4 trip and you want to surf the very best waves you possibly can, if the opportunity presents itself, then I would recommend bringing a step up. Now, my step up of choice is the Pizel Ghost Pro. I did actually try the regular Pizel Ghost before this one and really didn't get on with it at all. I found it way too thick in the rails, way too much foam here and then thinned out. It just felt kind of unbalanced. This thing is a totally different beast and I absolutely love it. I've surfed it now in a few sessions that were right on the limit of my ability, and it just did everything I needed it to do. This one is a 6'2" by 19.25" by 2.5" at 30 litres. So we've got 28 litres in the daily driver, we've got 30 litres in the step up, and we've got 32 litres in the easy surfer. A lot of people would tell you that you don't need a step up board in the Maldives, and whilst 95% of the time that is true, in my experience, if one of those A+ days presents itself and there's an opportunity for you to get maybe the best wave you've ever surfed, those are not the sessions where you want to be second guessing your equipment. And so even if it only comes out the bag once in a trip, for me it's really worthwhile having something like this in the bag. Again, what's important to note is that you don't have to go for a traditional pulled in tail, pulled in nose step up board. Maybe your step up board is a performance mid-length, something like the Slater Designs Boss Up. A step up is just for waves when the board that you typically ride is starting to feel like it's holding you back a little bit. Ultimately, all we're trying to achieve here is being able to feel like we can go out in conditions that are right at the top of our comfort level and feel like we've got absolute confidence in our equipment. If you are on a level 2 to 3 trip and you do want to bring 3 boards, then my recommendation would be to either pack a backup of your daily driver, either the same or similar, or bring a groveler. On level 2 to 3 trips, we're not looking for the very biggest and best waves we can find, and so on those trips, a groveler can actually come in handy. We don't really recommend super wide flat boards like the baked potato, the sweet potato, things like that. We find that those really flat, wide boards, people can catch a lot of waves on them, but then once they're up and riding, they're really hard to get on a rail and ultimately inhibit your surfing. All right, guys, so I appreciate that was a lot of information. So just to summarize the choices that I've made for a level 3 to 4 trip, I recommend a daily driver, a easy surfing board, and a step up. My choices are the Inferno 72 from Sharp Eye. I've got a 5.5 Fish, and I've got the 6.2 Paizel Ghost Pro. If you're coming on a level 2 to 3 trip, I'd recommend a 2-board quiver of something like the Firewire mashup with the Slater Designs Boss Up. If you have any questions, drop them below. Please make sure to like and subscribe to the channel because we're going to be putting out more content like this. If you're interested in what we do and you want to check out our surf coaching trips, you can head over to renegadesurftravel.com, drop us a message, and we would love to see you on board next season.